Alright, so I thought I'd try a video that was a little different. I'm still going to do my normal album review on MGMT on Monday. This probably isn't going to be like a regular thing, but I might do some weird videos like this here and there. See how it goes. So when I was reviewing the Byrds, I kind of thought about doing this, and I didn't get around to it. So the Byrds had, what was it, 11 members, I believe, that were on albums, featured on albums as players. And 10 of those members sang at least one lead vocal. So I thought I would rank them as singers as far as my opinion. This is completely my opinion. Has nothing to do with their technical ability. I can't even really speak too much to that. And, I mean, I could take a guess that who was probably the best of them at that, but really, I'm not good at technical shit like that. I don't really know. So this is just entirely my opinion and whose voice I like. I know I've got some people here who are probably technically worse singers ahead of people who are technically better singers. So that doesn't matter in this. This is just my opinion and kind of who I like in what order as far as their voice goes. The only band member that doesn't get a lead vocal is Michael Clark, the original drummer. So that's the only guy that's not ranked. And I also want to say before I start that I don't dislike really any of these guys' voices. I think they all are fine. So no, there's nobody that I really can't stand their voice in this group. So number 10, I have Skip Batten, the third bass player. I think he's kind of the punching bag usually for Byrds fans. A lot of people don't really like his songs. I like them more than most people. I feel like, at least from my impression, hearing what other people say about them. As far as his voice goes, I don't know. He kind of has this old man sound to his voice. So yeah, it's not my favorite. I think that when he joined the band, they got a little bit weaker in the harmonies. But overall, it's really just kind of that with me. He kind of just has this weird kind of old man sound to his voice. I picked a few highlights for each person. I would say Absolute Happiness off Bird Maniacs, Citizen Kane off Bird Maniacs, and We'll Come Back Home off Untitled would be probably my highlights for Skip Batten's vocal delivery. Maybe throw in Lazy Waters off farther along. So in ninth, I have John York, the second bass player. So being kind of hard on the bass players here. I don't know, his voice, I think, overall the tone of it is a little more pleasant than Skip Batten's. He only sang on one track that made an album, Fido, the song that he wrote. But on that same album, Ballad of Easy Riders, there are two bonus tracks he sings on, Way Beyond the Sun and an alternate take of Tulsa County. I would say Fido's probably my favorite lead vocal that he gets with the group. I don't know, his voice, I can't really think of how to describe it. But he's not my favorite as a lead singer, but I do think that he works better in their harmonies than Skip Batten. I think their harmonies got a little bit worse when York was replaced with Batten. So yeah, I'd say Fido was probably his highlight for me vocally. I think that Way Beyond the Sun is just not my favorite song that they do of those bonus tracks, and his take of Tulsa County kind of suffers, in my opinion, in comparison to McGuinn's, because I really love McGuinn's vocal on that. Number 8, I have Kevin Kelly. So Kevin Kelly, the second drummer, drummer only on Sweetheart. His lead vocal, only one song, and it's a bonus track that's only on the 2-disc version of Sweetheart. They have the song on the other version, but it's an instrumental. I think it took him a while to find the vocal he did or something. So yeah, I probably have him a little high for only doing one vocal, but I'm the self-proclaimed biggest Kevin Kelly fan in the world. Love his drumming. His voice, I don't think it's bad. He's nice, kind of like, I don't know, it's sort of high-ish voice. I could see people calling it like a little whiny, maybe like a little nasally. So I could see it not being him not being like a hugely popular singer. But I like his voice well enough, and it's cool to hear him sing on this song. I kind of wish that they put this song on the album in place of Life in Prison. I think that kind of would have made the album a little bit better, even though it's my favorite Byrds album. So can't really get much better, I guess. But I don't know. That's one of those albums that I like to I wish they had put Parsons' vocal on this song, and I wish they had done this. It's one of those albums that I kind of have like my own version of how I put it, even though I love what the way it came out and the way it exists. Number 7, Gene Parsons, the third drummer. He has a pretty pleasant voice, sounds pretty smooth to me. Just doesn't really catch me as like super emotional or anything that like really grabs me from his vocal performances. That said, I think he does a good job on the songs he sings, and I would say the highlights for me of his are Yesterday's Train and Gunga Din. Number 6, and this is one I'll probably get some flack for, I have Chris Hillman, the first bass player. Really, for me, the reason Hillman's down kind of here, and I'm just kind of like, some of these people are up a little bit higher because of their solo stuff and stuff that they do later. And so I feel like I'm kind of being unfair to Hillman, because kind of the reason he's down here a little bit is his actual lead vocals that he gets while he's in the Byrds, I don't think were as good as what he did later in some other groups and some other stuff that he did. I think he became a more expressive singer later on, and that kind of helped him. As far as like the songs because he like wrote some great songs that are on Younger Than Yesterday and Notorious Byrd Brothers that he sings, but none of his vocals really stand out to me on those two albums. Like, they suit the song perfectly and they fit in fine, but they just don't really stand out. I think that he sounds better on Sweetheart of the Rodeo. Like, he was starting to get a little more feeling across. So I would say his highlights for me both come off that album with Blue Canadian Rockies and I'm Pilgrim. But he definitely did some stuff later on that I think is better in like the Burrito Brothers and McGuinn, Clark, and Hillman and stuff. So yeah, I'm probably being a little unfair to him putting him there, but this is really hard because I like all these guys' voices. And I would say from Hillman on, everybody I consider to be really good. So number 5, and this is another one that's probably going to give me some shit. I have David Crosby. Crosby definitely has a really good voice. It's really, really high and clear and everything, but I think that when he tries to sing like harder, like more rockin' songs, that he kind of sounds a little weird. But I like a lot of his vocals with the Byrds. I haven't really listened to a whole lot of his solo stuff. Like, I'm not really familiar with any of his solo albums he released on his own. I've listened to, I think, a couple Crosby Nash albums a few times. I have kind of like a greatest hits plus a few other kind of things, familiarity with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but I haven't like listened to their whole discography. So maybe he kind of suffers a little bit in my ratings because of that. Even though, like I said, I was kind of trying to focus on more what they did with the Byrds, but I can't help but like bring into some of these other stuff into this. So yeah, I would say for me, his highlights of singing with the Byrds are probably like Everybody's Been Burned off of Younger Than Yesterday, For Free and Long Live the King off of Byrds, and What's Happening off of Fifth Dimension. But then like, I don't know, like Hey Joe off Fifth Dimension, he definitely gives a really weird performance there. I always thought his vocal on this is kind of sidetracked onto other stuff, but I always thought his vocal on what is it, Long Time, whatever the Crosby, Stills and Nash song is that's like it's been a long time coming, it's gonna be a long time gone. That whole song, I always thought his vocal on that was really weird sounding. Just like whenever he tries to do like the more rock and stuff, he just sounds pretty strange because his voice is just meant for more like softer stuff, I feel like. Alright, so number 4, and this is another one where, like I was saying, technical ability means like nothing in this list. Number 4, I have Clarence White. Definitely not the most technically gifted singer of all time. He's definitely more of a guitar player, but I just really enjoy pretty much every song he sung with the Byrds, with the exception of there's this one outtake on Bird Maniacs. I can't remember the song. It's a Gene Clark song, but I can't remember the title. That one he doesn't really give a great performance on, I don't think. But like everything else he sang with this band, I absolutely love his vocal. And he just had a really unique voice. And it's just a lot of feeling in it because of like how I don't know how different it is and like the character of it and stuff. It's just really interesting voice. For me, the highlights by him are Bugler off Farther Along, Jamaica Say You Will off of Bird Maniacs, and Truck Stop Girl off of Untitled. So number 3, I have the Big Bird himself, Roger McGuinn. So I hear a lot of people call him like the Dylan imitator of the band, and yeah, he did sing the Dylan songs and stuff, but I really don't hear a lot of Dylan like in his voice. I mean, yeah, there are some similarities and things like that, but I think they really have very different voices, and both very good. I honestly am not sure who I'd pick over because I love Dylan's voice really, but I really do love McGuinn singing in the Byrds and in his solo career. I think he's got a very unique voice. I think the thing that like brought me around to thinking or to liking him so much as a singer actually was an outtake from Sweetheart of the Rodeo, where they've got like this little clip of him singing the harmony part of Blue Canadian Rockies, and I was just like, wow, he's better than I thought he was. But anyway, yeah, just really big fan of McGuinn, really big fan of his voice, even though it's probably technically not, where like Crosby's or even Hillman's is. So I'd say highlights for him, My Back Pages off Younger Than Yesterday, Just a Season off Untitled, Kathleen's song off Bird Maniacs, and Nothing Was Delivered off of Sweetheart of the Rodeo. Number 2, I have Gene Clark, and I almost put Gene Clark at number 1. I feel like my number 1 and 2 are always going to be in between him and the next guy. And yeah, I don't know. Gene Clark to me just has one of those magic voices. Like he's got so much feeling that comes across in his singing, and a very just like unique tone. Just really love his voice. I do have to say though that I think the first two Byrds albums, which is the albums where he was the most prominent because he was gone after that, and then he comes back for the reunion. But those first 2 albums, I'm not as crazy about his vocals on there as I am on the stuff that came later. On the Byrds album, where I think he sounds better on that album than he does on Tambourine Man and Turn, Turn, Turn. And his solo stuff, I think he sounds better too. And I think that more comes down to like Melcher's production and how he's producing the vocals, that you just kind of don't get the character out of Gene's voice that was there. Like it just doesn't come across as much in those Melcher recordings. But maybe he wasn't there yet because he was younger here, so maybe he hadn't got some of the gruffness to it that I like so much in the later stuff. But yeah, I don't know. For him, I'd say my highlights are Set You Free This Time off Turn, 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 and then Changing Heart off of Byrds, and See the Sky About to Rain off Byrds. And then my number 1, and I'll probably get shit for this too because he was only on one album, But I have Graham Parsons, and yeah, I know definitely he doesn't have the best voice on the technical level of these guys. He's one of those guys that could miss things here and there. Hillman always likes to complain about or go on about how off he is on a lot of the albums he did with Emmylou when he was solo. I honestly feel like that's more GP than Grievous Angel, at least in my ears. But I don't know. Parsons, when he was on, was just magic though too. He just had such an emotional voice. Like I don't think any of the other guys in the band gets the emotion across as much as he does really. So yeah, he's my number one, even though he wasn't really in the band long and didn't do that much singing with them. But for him, I would say my highlights are Hickory Wind and the version of 100 Years From Now where he sings the lead vocal. That's one of those ones too that I would slot in to Sweetheart instead of the version that made the album, because like out of the McGuinn and Hillman, when they sing the harmonies to that song, it sounds fine together. Like them singing together sounds fine, but it lacks the emotion of the Parsons takes where he sings it. Like and he wrote the song, so it just suits his voice. So I don't know, of all the songs on there that they could have taken his vocal off of, I don't understand why they did it to one where he wrote the song. So anyway, that's my list. Probably will disagree with it, but leave your own list down in the comments if you have one, and thanks for watching.